thought I had lost my mind, literally in every sense, because I had a high paying job at an MNC, a kind of job which has a good salary, great designation, which actually makes your parents feel proud of you at every family gathering. And I walked away from all of it to actually sell 1,000 rupee digital products. And if you're watching this, chances are you're probably thinking, okay, she must be doing crores right now. Or maybe you are also sitting in a job right now that looks good on the paper but doesn't feel good on the inside. So either way, stay, because what I'm going to share today is not the highlight reel. It's actually what happened. So if you're new around here, hi, I'm Tejal and I help women build financial independence through digital products, things like masterclasses, digital products, ebooks, mini courses. Sky is the limit. And I've been doing this for a couple of years now and helped over 6,000 women in their own journey. Most of them figuring this out from scratch, without any followers, without any tech experience, without any entrepreneurship experience, basically from zero, which is exactly where I started from as well. So today I want to tell you the real story, not the one that looks good on Instagram, the one where the first few months were uncertain. I didn't make any money at that time, where the first 30K in a month felt like a huge win, where there was a lot of uncertainty and figuring out, and to be honest, where I had no idea how actually all of this would work out. So when I quit, I didn't have a big plan. I actually just had the thought that I should not be trading my time to build someone else's business. That was my first thought. When I quit, I actually wanted to be investing all of that time into building something of my own, or maybe helping people where I can see real world impact, which is where I decided that this job is not for me and I should be doing something of my own. And I had quit before even thinking or planning of what I should be doing of my own, which was not very responsible for me, but it's true. And I'm sharing here my real story with you today. And after quitting, I actually had gotten into 2 IMs as well, but I chose not to go, because I felt that I had explored that path already. I knew where it landed in those cabins. Maybe the package would be different, maybe the CTC would be more, but the cabins and the soullessness of the corporate didn't excite me anymore, having tested it. Because earlier, before that, I used to be that excited person who was very happy to be working in a big company and excited to go out there in the corporate and just grow. But having done that, it made me realize that even the IMs or the journey beyond that is not for me. So after months of research of what I should be doing, I started with freelancing in the field of marketing, and I was figuring it out. Even though I'd done some sort of ground marketing in my college days, I'd not done social media marketing, online marketing, digital marketing, all of those things. So I started with learning that, and then I started my journey by freelancing my services. So for the first 6 months, I was just learning the skill set. I was doing free work here and there, and I didn't make a single penny. Literally 6 months I made no money. But then in the 7th month as a freelancer, I got my first client. I got my first client and I made 10,000 INR in cash, which was way less compared to my corporate job, but the feeling associated with that became insane when it started. And that is how my journey began of freelancing, which gradually turned into me becoming a marketing agency. We became a full stack 6-figure marketing agency in a couple of years after that, definitely growing leaps and bounds, but also me realizing that in a service business, you do need to trade your time for money, because even though I had a small team of people helping me out with design, creatives, posting, other sort of thing, I was the brain, I was the manager, I was the client interactor. And that was not something I had envisioned my life to be. I definitely was creating impact, but also limited by the number of hours I actually had and the number of clients I could serve. And at the same time, when I switched off, the money stopped. So I couldn't be away from the business and still have the business work for me in the truest sense. Of course, it was possible with me scaling and even hiring more people and building a bigger team, but that was not something that gave me joy. And then is when I accidentally discovered digital products, not knowing they were called digital products, but basically I wanted to help people in more than the agency way, which I was able to. So I started coaching, consulting on the side to create more impact and see how it goes. That is when I accidentally created my first digital product, because that was a problem people were coming to me for, and I had zero time to actually, cater to them via consulting or maybe via my agency at all. And of course, agency would be very expensive for them. So I just thought I'll maybe with whatever I know about that topic. The topic was hashtags. A lot of people ask me questions around that on Instagram. So I thought I'll just put together whatever knowledge I have and put it out there specifically to the people who had already messaged me. I'll just share it with them and they can purchase it at a very low ticket price point and watch it and gain from it. And if they have questions, they can email me. So that's what I did. And it was shocking to me. So the day that I decided to put it out there on my Instagram, there were no reels back then. They were actually just swipe up, because I had about 10,000 followers at that time with the audience I had built during freelancing. And there was also like, I'm just putting out a story and people are inquiring and I'm sharing the link in the DMs. With that alone, in the first 5 days, I ended up making 75k INR, which was a good amount definitely, but not an insane amount compared to what I was making with my agency. So what surprised me the most, even with my first sale, was how I had created this one thing that now people actually wanted, because it would help them solve a problem that they had in their business. And I would make money from it, not just once, but every time someone purchases it, every time they get the solution, and every time I get paid. So I had two aha moments together, that in the first 5 days itself, I could impact so many people, which would not be possible otherwise if I had to do one-on-one calls with them or help them via my agency. And at the same time, I made money, decent money, but extra money, without doing a lot of extra work. Of course, it needed work of putting together, but that was my aha moment. I didn't really know what had happened, and I just thought, like, while I'm working with the agency, let me just keep selling it and see how it goes. That's another story. I will talk about it maybe later in a separate video of how after that it didn't like continue with the sales momentum, because initially people wanted it, and then I had limited number of people in my audience, so it kind of died down. I didn't know how to sell it consistently, all of that good stuff. I will actually share it with you separately if you wanted. Let me know about what I did after that. But basically, I wanted to share with you that that's how my journey with digital products actually began. Slowly over the years, I did better. I built better products. I built more products. I had better systems of putting together those products, but also selling consistently, which is something I was struggling with. I just knew how to launch, and then when the launch ended, my product would be off the site to be purchased, and hence I would not be making any money with it. So it took, like, I've been creating products now for the last 5-6 years, and some of my products failed. The best part is the first one worked, which gave me an aha moment, but after that I have created products which I thought would be gold for people, but people didn't want it. So it, like, there's a steep learning curve through which I've experimented. Now the world knows about digital products. At that time they didn't, so I had to make my own mistakes to figure out what was the whole strategy and what was the whole funnel, how would it work, how would it sell, all of that stuff. But slowly I did figure out things, and month by month, gradually my revenue started growing from there, which is when I eventually decided that I would be stepping out of the agency, that is, I would be pausing it and I would be moving to coaching and digital products, because I wanted to create more impact, but I also at the same time wanted more time for myself, which I could invest in my health, relationships, and other stuff. So that's what I did from the last, now I think I stopped my agency in 21. So now it's been the last almost 4 or 5 years that I have not worked with clients in the agency format, and I have just been coaching, consulting, and selling digital products, where 90% of my income comes from digital products. But more than the money, I want you to hear this today, I actually started liking my Sunday evenings. I stopped dreading Mondays. When I was back in my corporate job, I used to hate Mondays, absolutely physically hate from my gut, and it started giving me anxiety on Saturday, Sunday itself, that the Monday is going to come. But ever since I changed that, it literally changed for me. I look forward to my Mondays. I look forward to taking breaks on the weekend, but then happily getting back to work from Monday. I'm really excited about those things. I stopped doing the calculations of how many more years do I need to grill in a corporate job before I can get to actually start living my life. That calculation stopped for me because now I can live while I work and I enjoy the two. So it kind of needs no more thinking about when. So going through this journey of the past few years, what did I actually learn? A lot of things, but a couple of things specifically from the side of business that I built and I'm now consistently working on growing is something I'd like to share with you. First, the product price doesn't determine your income. A lot of people have this high ticket versus low ticket mindset. I love low ticket because it's very hands off for me and it can create more impact. But at the same time, you can crack low ticket as well if you understand the system and the volume game, because you are ideally playing a volume game when it comes to low ticket. So if you can figure that out and actually work on it, you can build a great business from even doing low ticket products as well. Because think about it, 999 otherwise, like $1,000 sounds small, right? Like a 999 rupee product, but 999 into 100, like when 100 people buy your 999 product, that becomes a lakh. And when you build a funnel that actually does that consistently for you, it becomes a business. Number two is you don't need a big audience to start with. Yes, it used to be the case earlier. I started with 443 followers when I started my freelancing journey, and gradually, I think when I launched, I am not even sure I had 10,000 followers or not when I launched my first digital product. That's as far as I can remember. Maybe I can delve deeper into my numbers and share the next time. I'll have to find out. But the idea is that a lot of women wait to have 10,000 followers or 50,000 followers. That's not the case. In today's day and age, the best part is that you get non-follower views as well on your content, whether it's your reels or your carousels, even on LinkedIn, even on YouTube, so many other platforms. The idea is if you're positioning your product correctly to the right people, it will sell. And definitely, as you grow your audience, your sales will increase. But that doesn't mean that you have to wait till you hit a particular follower number to actually start selling your product. That's not needed. Thirdly, the hardest part is not actually to create the product. It's actually to trust yourself to put a price on your knowledge. And I've seen this more with women. Most women think about कि मुझे कुछ नहीं आता. I don't know something, and why would people pay me for something as basic as maybe cooking Maharashtrian food? But you know more than you think you do. People want what you know. People want to buy from you. People want help from you. But if you are second guessing yourself and not trusting yourself enough to put it out there, put a product out there, put a 499 price point out there, you are missing out, and so are they. So don't underprice yourself and don't think about who will I sell to, who will buy from me. People are there wanting a solution, provided you are ready to help them. Are you? Think about it. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, okay, I want this and I want to know more about this, what are the steps involved in doing this? What did you do, Tejal? I have recorded a step-by-step video that goes deeper into exactly calculating the steps that you need to take to hit your first 30K month with digital products. You can watch that next. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to drop them in the comments. I will personally be replying to all your questions.